one of New Zealand's leading bone carvers. And this is his desk, and as you can see, it's just full of inspiration. So
this
how
is the main tool I use.
All right.
Hand tool is graver or burin.
Okay. And how long have you been doing it?
50 years now, John.
50 years. Gosh.
I started in the late 60s as a hobby, which snowballed on me.
Okay.
And became a profession. And, with exhibiting around the country, and the last, I suppose, 30 years exhibiting overseas.
Right. And is it just bone that you carve in, or?
Well, I work with whalebone, so we have pieces of whalebone. Whalebone.
Some of it is really, really intricate, isn't it? Go down to that there, yeah.
I also, of course, work with cowbone.
That would be a bit easier to get hold of, wouldn't it?
Deer bone for flutes.
Okay, yep.
Use a traditional koawau, a Maori flute.
Right, and those are cows, are they, or?
These are deer.
Deer
legs.
Right, and it's a bit more accessible, is it?
My brother has had a deer farm.
Okay.
And I'm a keen hunter, so.
Right. So that leads on to the next thing. How do you come across your bits of bones and?
Well, I'm very lucky. When I started carving, nobody else was carving bone in this country.
All right.
There were no bone carvings in shops and galleries.
Gosh.
At all.
So you just...
It's a bit hard to believe, but that's a fact.
So I suppose you could walk down the beach and just get a piece, could you?
There was no problem with cutting up dead whales on beaches back in the 60s and early 70s.
Right.
Nobody was interested. Iwi or Doc.
Yeah.
Project Jonah, for instance.
But now it's a different story, isn't it?
Yes, the laws have changed a little. Common law. I use ostrich leg bones as well for perutu, which is a bigger type of flute.
All right. So that looks like its markings a little bit different, doesn't it?
The grain is in this one is a bit of blood staining.
Okay.
They can be used as a trumpet as well.
Right. Do they feel any different if you?
The grain is a little bit more brittle.
All right.
Now, I also use quite a lot of deer antler, both the crowns,
right,
where it joins onto the head of the animal, and the actual antler itself.
Right.
I also use mammoth ivory.
Mammoth. This sounds a bit old, doesn't it?
40,000 years approximately.
40,000 years. Oh, so how would you get a piece of that?
Another piece. You can import it. There's no legal problem.
But there wouldn't be a big supply of it around the world, would there?
Oh, you can buy a ton if you wish.
You can buy a ton? Really? Yeah. Gosh.
And I use Ice Age walrus ivory.
Right.
Which is beautiful coloured material from Alaska. That's the outside oxidization.
Right.
And then the inside.
That is gorgeous, isn't it?
You can buy this over the internet.
Right. Oh, it's wonderful. Really.
Sometimes I use wood, whale teeth.
That looks like a bit of stone or something, that one, or that green one.
This is kauri gum.
Kauri, oh gosh.
Which normally I don't carve. It's terrible material. Very chippy and fragile.
Okay, I thought it would be jade or something like that. Do you do jade and stones?
Jade I do in my other stoneworking workshop.
Okay, right.
So here I just work with organic bone antler ivory materials.
Yeah.
So tools that I use, as you can see,
you've got a whole tray of pieces.
I work with probably 50 or 60 hand tools.
Right. Are they all handmade or?
Yes, I make my own tools out of super cobalt steel and in this case silver steel.
Okay. And that gives you the sharpness and the
well, you have to silver steel. You have to harden, of course.
Okay.
And
I don't know. So.
Temper.
Right.
Now these are European style tool, palm grip. So you're holding it in your palm.
Right. Right.
and you're pushing
Yep.
and scraping with the side. I also use the Japanese style pen grip blades. So
Right. Okay.
longer handle, shorter blade,
Yep.
and here's some samples here. Each blade is a different
Yep.
form.
Yeah. So you have to get these made yourself, or
I make them myself.
you make them
yeah.
yourselves?
Which are good hard steel, or chainsaw files are excellent.
Needle files or chainsaw files?
So
All right.
a chainsaw file, I can get 3 tools out of it.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Putting on Manuka handles.
Right. Manuka's really hard and durable.
Yeah, it
isn't
makes a nice handle.
Yeah.
And of course, with a chainsaw file or any file, they're hard.
Mm.
So you have to work them cold, which means you grind and dip into water. Grind, dip, grind, dip.
Right. Right.
To keep the metal cold.
Right. Okay.
If the metal changes colour, blue or black, you've ruined the steel.
Oh, and that's
You've softened
start
it.
off again.
So you have to start again.
Yeah. Where would you get your inspiration for your work? I suppose you've got a library of.
I work with workbooks.
All right.
Here's an example.
So do you sort of have a plan of what you're going to do?
So I draw to scale. And,
Okay.
here's an example here
Right. That's
of these Ray Putta shapes.
right. And that's all the different shapes there.
Well, that's just some.
Well, some of them. Yeah.
So I keep drawing, in this case, for a Moriori family down on the Chatham Islands,
Okay. Yep.
Reikohu, and more. So I'm dealing with ancient Moriori symbols, human
Okay.
figures, albatrosses, whale tails.
Right. Do you have to know a bit of the background?
That's part of your research.
Yeah.
So
Gosh, they're incredible, aren't they? Yeah.
drawing here is of a friend's cranium, half his cranium, which was removed in an operation.
Okay.
And he grew up on a little island near Kapiti Island called Motu Narara, which means the island of the lizards.
Right. So we've
So
got.
I've put 2 interlocking lizards on the piece of cranium with
Wow.
what I term some wave or current patterns.
Mm.
And this is drawn to life size, life scale.
Right.
And yes.
And that's in progress, is it, at the moment, or?
I've finished it now, and it's been delivered to the owner of his piece, who's alive and well, I might add.
Okay, well that's
Lives
wonderful,
up
isn't
in Kirikiri.
Right. What a story that is by itself, isn't it?
And of course, that piece of human bone being from his own body, he can do as he wishes with it.
Right.
There's no legal consequences.
Right.
So I'm quite comfortable with carving a piece of bone that he's given permission for
Right.
me to do.
Yes. Yes.
And that'll be passed down through his family
Right.
eventually.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
But,
It's like
All that sort of
little
thing.
library in here, isn't it? And a few muskets or something, is it?
yes, there's some ancient muzzle-loading guns.
Okay.
But I'm more interested in the Indonesian blades
All right.
because of their metalworking, Damascus hot welded metal,
I
And-
so I don't know. Yeah.
and Wirtz steel, which is a crucible formed steel. It
Okay.
has a crystal structure through it.
Right.
So when it's forged out, that crystal pattern remains in the metal. Very ancient. Here's a couple of examples. If you can see the pattern in that.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's 2 or 3 different metals that have been forged together while it's red hot, and it goes right through the blade.
Okay.
So it's a sandwich of layers of metal.
Gosh, it would take some skill to do that, wouldn't it? And is that only found in Indonesia, is it?
Oh no, it's found in many parts of the world. Japan, of course. Here's another one here with a very complex pattern.
Let's see if we can get on that, maybe. Oh, yeah.
So it's coming up quite
nicely. It looks like a timber grain, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like a punga or something.
It's very much like the grain in wood.
Mm.
This particular blade is a modern blade.
Right.
So the craft of forging Damascus steel in Indonesia is alive and well.
Gosh. Something that you never knew anything about, something like that.
It goes back probably a couple of thousand years,
okay.
this technique.
Right. So I suppose with every success there must be a lady in the house, is there?
My wife, who's Danish, Hannah Eriksson,
right?
Owen Mapp, was a professional potter for 25 years in Denmark and America.
Okay.
And then when she came to New Zealand, she wanted to get rid of the heavy workload of clay.
Right,
lifting bags of clay, etc.
Yeah.
So she switched to jewellery.
And this is some of her work.
This is some of her work. So,
wow, look at it.
For instance, a New Zealand jade ring mounted in gold and a silver ring. And in this case, she's cut the stone herself.
And every piece original.
And oh yes, it works the same. This is New Zealand Inanga jade, an ammonite, fossil stone, gold, silver, little diamond, and the top is a box.
Okay. Wow, like a little locket or something, or
little poison box. So it's a 2-finger ring.
Yep.
And this one up here is again New Zealand jade, a little cup form, bowl form that she's carved, and then set a diamond in the middle.
Jeepers. That's really nice, isn't it?
And another...
I don't know a thing about jewellery actually, so...
This one here is an African ruby, which Hannah cut. It's a little bit different from the Burmese rubies. But it's still a good red, mounted in gold and silver.
Mm.
So Hannah also works a lot on commission for clients.
Mm.
This is a cast silver bracelet. It worked in wax and then cast, and then she set all the little opals in there.
Right. Wow.
So,
and these are some of your creations, are they?
These are waiting for a client to come and pick out a couple. Fern fronds in cowbone. This one here is an early carving of mine in whale tooth.
Okay.
It's
bit more detail. It's got nice grain to it, hasn't it? Or is that what
well, it's a piece I've worn for about 20 years.
Right.
So it's picked up the grain, the texture of the material through handling.
A bit of tree wood at the back.
There's a piece of local driftwood, and I've made a mask and mounted some whalebone carvings on it.
Right. Would you get much call for that, or is it just personal?
Oh yes, people will buy pieces like this as a feature wall element.
Okay.
This figure here is Ruru the owl.
All right.
A totem figure for some iwi. Sometimes a bird of foreboding, other times a strong guardian bird.
Okay.
in ancient Maori belief. And the figure below is ocean taniwha, as I call it, refer to it.
All right.
So taniwha live in deep holes in rivers and out in the ocean, of course. And they're also a guardian totem or creature.
Right.
And of course we have a local taniwha here, Awarua, lives in Porirua Harbour.
Okay.
And Awarua had many adventures with his friend the albatross, who taught Awarua to fly.
All right.
And,
yeah.
Unfortunately, he crash landed up in the Manawatu and formed the gorge.
Right. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
He also crash landed again, coming back to Porirua on top of Mana Island, which is why it's
all
flat.
Yeah.
So when you're starting to deal with these identities, you need to do your research to know what you're getting involved in.
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely great. I love this stuff. Love the detail. And yeah, thank you very much for sharing it.
Pleasure,
really,
John.
really nice. What is this?
This is a netsuke in the Japanese sense, made of deer antler.
Okay.
It's a bamboo shoot, and it symbolises growth and birth, strong disposition.
And it's deer antler.
Deer antler.
Gosh, it looks lovely, doesn't it?
You got a suspension hole here.
Okay, so you can tie it up or hang it or something, yeah.
Wear it around your neck.
And what's it like on the bottom? Have you got something on the bottom too, have you?
I've carved a little lizard.
Oh, yes, all right. Now, I know people are going to ask, how long has it taken to grow your moustache?
Well, it all started with a very cold winter in Sweden, 1965.
All right. And that was
I ran away from New Zealand, Blenheim, New Zealand,
okay.
when I was 18 and ended up in Sweden.
All right.
Spent 2.5 years there.
Right.
And it got to minus 30 in Stockholm.
And the moustache stayed like that.
Yeah, I grew a beard.
It's quite cool.
It was so cold, you couldn't lock your car door because you wouldn't get it open.
Right.
And
Yes.
you couldn't touch the side of your car because your hand would freeze to the car.
Yep.
It's that cold. And that winter, 1965, 66, you could drive a car across the Baltic Sea to Finland from Stockholm. It was frozen all the way.
God. So,
sort of a 100-year event.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. And the moustache has stayed there as a reminder ever since,
Yeah. It's part of me now, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that's really appreciated. Yeah. Cool, bananas. Thanks very much. All right.
Okay.
People want to find you, they can get hold of.
I mean, we're in the phone book.
Yeah.
If you Google us, you get plenty of hits.
Good stuff. Thank you. Yeah.
So people